All right, what's up, y'all? We have a new pedal today, and that is the Case Study Aspen. It's a pretty rad pedal. I have had my eyes on it for just a little bit now. I mean, it hasn't been out for too long, but I've had some guys bring it up to me a bunch of times, and it sounded really interesting. And I've heard some clips, and it sounded really good. I reached out to Case Study with just a couple of questions, and he was actually very kind and decided to send me one. So I was very excited to get to try it. And the first thing I knew I wanted to do is actually make a video before I've even tried it, because that's always a lot of fun. Just natural reaction to experiencing a pedal for the first time. I feel like I have the most fun that way anyways, so I feel like it would be a lot of fun to do that. So essentially this pedal is a kilt of sorts, or an Expandora of sorts, because that's kind of the chopping block of these pedals creation essentially. And the Expandora I've heard a few times. It's been a long time though, so I don't quite recall exactly how it sounds or feels. But I've played the Kilt plenty of times. I had the V1, I had the V2. They're all really cool. But this one apparently expounds upon a few things, most notably, at least to me, most notably, is there's a bass control, there is a tone control, which Kilt also has a tone control, but the bass control is really interesting. So, I mean, I never necessarily suffered or struggled with the bass on the Kilt, but to have that finite control is really meaningful. For instance, if I want it to replicate my clean tone a little bit more adequately, I can notch up that bass and get it to mirror closer to what that's doing, and maybe use it in a completely different way than I could before, because the Kilt doesn't have that. It has the toggle switch that's fixed, and that's fine, and it's great positions. But sometimes I want maybe just a little bit more customizability. Also, apparently has more volume on tap, and that is also a very appealing thing to me, because literally not that long ago I had a V2. It had been on my board for quite some time. It had been also off and on my board. I remember breaking it back out, throwing it on my board and being like, this thing rules. It's the perfect pedal. And then a few days later, I was like, I can't get it to do anything I want it to do. I don't know why. Maybe that's playing on different amps, or my ears being fatigued, or who knows what. But for one reason or another, I wound up taking it off my board. And, you know, it also could just be because you cycle other pedals and maybe they supply more volume than this does, and it makes it sound smaller, or excuse me, not this, the Kilt, and it makes it sound a little smaller or something. So anyways, he put allegedly more volume on this one than the Kilt supplies, and that sounds supremely useful. So as a whole, it just sounds completely more useful to me than maybe what I was able to get the Kilt to do. Which this isn't me trying to just like dump on the Kilt. What a rad pedal that so many incredible players sound incredible on. Literally almost everybody who plays it sounds amazing, because it's an awesome pedal. But this just seems like it's adding a couple extra goodies that sounds fun. I mean, I don't know how many times I'm gonna say that. I should probably chill. Like I mentioned, I haven't played it yet. I've heard some clips. That's not always the most useful to me, because I have a very specific way that I want to hear it. I want to hear clean tone, and then I want to hear it turned on, and just hear that, like, you know, exact A and B and how it interacts with my amps and the way that I set it. So I'm really excited to hear this for the first time under my fingers, and you can do it with me. We'll hear it together. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to use my Veritas Portlander that has Lindy Fralin PAFs, and then I've got my JMI on the left ear and a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe White Lightning on the right ear, and that's what I'm using. And so that's what we're going to hear. Let's see what it sounds like. All right, so we have the Aspen wired up here. So no other drives are on, but my compressor is on. This is what that sounds like. And here's the Aspen. Now, granted, all the knobs are kind of in crazy places. Let me just go ahead and do a few things that I think might generally get it in ballpark. Let's raise volume up a little bit. We'll drop the gain a bit. Tones at noon. Bass is at noon. All right, so firstly, gain can totally cut signal. Cool. Well, hey, that's pretty nice. Okay, so color me interested, Mr. Case Study. I think his name is Anthony. I saw in the package. I hadn't talked to him yet. Anthony, please, I hope that's your name. Well done. That sounds good. And we have a lot of things we can still try, man. Holy smokes. Okay, so right away, the first thing that I noticed about cranking the tone, we get that glassy punch thing. And the light picking thing. Oh, brother, that is nice. Okay, hold on. Some what effects, please. We're going to jump up to a kind of more chill reverb. Bump up the tempo a little bit. So I already hear the dollar signs flying as I'm playing this for the folks watching. I'm sure they're going to be thrilled at that. I'm thrilled. That feels awesome. For like, it's not first gain stage, but it kind of is with how clean that gain is right there. And with that tone maxed out, it's just giving me that glassy articulation. I don't know if I'd want to keep it there. But man, the fact that I'm getting so much musical pursuit, literally just in that one quick set of changes, is so exciting. We haven't even hardly touched the kilty thing, if you will, or in this case, the aspeny thing. I'm going to try to do a swell with my hand controlling the volume pedal. Yes, that is what I want it to sound like, and it is sounding like that. Now, I know we've hardly done anything, like we still have toggle switches and stuff like that. Like, I feel like I'm going super out of order here, but I just want to throw a boost on top of that because that's going to change my opinion on maybe where I want the tone knob here. But I mean, it's cool that maxed out I can get the clean glassier thing, but when I start to warm it up, I can get my size back. let's throw a boost on that. Let's throw a bigger boost on that. So that first cleaner boost was the Exotic Super Clean. The second one was the Benson Germanium boost, just really cranked. It's kind of how I've been messing around with it lately, which has been very fun. But hey, that sounds pretty good. I mean, I'd probably back off the Germanium boost a little bit so it's not getting as squeaky. I mean, squeaky is like a loose term. It was hardly squeaky, just to like really fine dial it. But I'm going to try something else like the Storm. I believe my Storm is positioned to go before the Aspen in this very moment, but the Mustang I'll try after that. It's positioned after where the Aspen is located right now. So first Storm, this is just going to be just Aspen first, and then I'll turn it on. And then Mustang. Sweet, so that's Aspen going into Mustang. Let's turn on the Exotic Super Clean on the tail end of all that because that feels really cool. Let's put my wide effect on that. Sorry, I just started turning stuff on because it sounded cool. Hey, that's a good sign. If I just start turning stuff on because it's fun, that means it's inspiring, and Case Study's doing his job. Okay, so we have once again come back to the fact that I've hardly touched any other knobs on here, which is a great sign. One set of knob changes feels awesome. Then we just kind of stack some other things on top. Let's keep messing with the pedal for a second. I think most notably, we have discovered that, you know, this is a great well-rounded sort of settings that I would probably use. Just kind of depends. It's going to depend on your amps. It's going to depend on your dial of your board, all sorts of other things. But it's good to know that it's that flexible. Let's see what the toggle switches are doing here. Cool, a little more aggressive. I forget what the toggle switches mean. I want to say one of these is like a sort of crunch, one of these is more of an overdrive. This feels a little bit more aggressive. Hey, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's like, I wouldn't say it's a fuzz, but maybe it is. It's definitely getting there. It's definitely more aggressive, obviously. Let's see what the other side is doing. Oh my, there's the fuzz. Just let go of my guitar and it just kind of keeps going. Cool. So hey, that's fuzzy. Sweet. What else can this old girl do? Very sensitive to touch. It's very kind of spitty gated. Let's like mess with some tone knobs with that. Okay, cool. I mean, the volume's maxed out and the gain is not, so let's kind of see what that does. Okay, cool. So let's bring the toggles back. Cool, which it can seemingly really drive the circuit even with just both toggles up and then really maxing out that gain too. Cool. I mean, sheesh, what a pedal. Let me see what it sounds like with my Dano baritone, because that's some spanky single coils, lipstick tube pickups on that, and let's see what the reaction's like. So there at first for a moment I had my tone knob down a bit, then I just open it up wide and it starts to get very obviously glassy. So I'm going to roll it back just a hair, probably down to like a 7 or so, and then keep it that way, and then we'll keep dialing the pedal accordingly. I mean, does it work? Yeah, it does. Did you hear that? Okay, let's see what it sounds like in comparison to cleans. Honestly, epic. I don't know if I'd ever really use like a fuzz version of that, nor do we need to like really drive it much more. I think the point's being driven home. The last thing we could probably do is like just actually bring the volume down, since I never did that. Well, I think overall you get the point. That rules. That's going on my board, hands down. I'm glad we did this live and I hadn't played it before, because that was fun and an exciting way to discover the pedal. Where am I going to land with settings? Who knows? Probably, I mean, it depends too. Like if I'm doing some tracking, I'll probably have a lot of occasions where I use that more glassy picking side. But then I'll have times where, as a well-rounded, I'm going to probably want to drop that a bit so I get some of my size back by not overextending that high end. But either way, well done case study. This is, I feel like, a great replacement for what I was not loving before from my kilt. This, I think, is giving to me. It feels very dynamic. It feels very flexible. And just with that EQ control alone, I'm able to turn this thing into a few more pedals than one that I felt like I wasn't able to do before. That's a very meaningful feature. The blackout version is so sick. I mean, look at it. Even the foot switch is blacked out. How cool. This is like the dark night of pedals. Anyways, that's the Aspen Overdrive from Case Study.